everybody? It's your favorite youngling killer's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Hot Toys Anakin. I can't tell you how happy I am that they're now dipping their big toe into prequel characters. I love the prequels. I'm aware of their flaws, but I love them all the same, and I'm looking forward to many releases in the future. Let's go ahead and get looking at accessories. So he comes with the display base, comes with the silver Anakin Skywalker thing here, and I don't see, I'm sure it's on here. It does have a protective sheet on it. Whoop, crispy. There's another problem with this display stand, and that is as follows. This piece is a sticker. If you take this out, which is our traditional two-prong tension piece, so first of all, this doesn't seem clear to me. Now, this might have some protective thing on it as well, but I certainly can't seem to find it. I'll look into that a bit here in a second and let you know. But this piece is a sticker. You peel off the back, and then you can stick this onto here, which just doesn't seem appropriate. It seems cheap. It seems like a cheap choice. And underneath is nothing. So I don't understand why this wasn't done beforehand at the very least, or at the very most, just painted on. That is unfortunate. He comes with a wide array of hands. We have two holding hands left and right. We have all sorts of posing hands, like a choke, two different types of choke hands left and right, force use, more force use, push, the more subtle force use. So tons of options, all appropriate. In addition to that, he comes with two arms. We'll look at both of them separately. This has the light up feature. You can see the articulation, double hinged elbow, and then the wrist is on just a swivel. I don't think it's a ball hinge. Or maybe it is. No, because they run the wiring through it. And then he's holding the lightsaber hilt, which is identical to the one we're going to talk about in a second. So we'll just save that. And then the glove is on there. This one for the robotic arm looks really good. It's a glossy black for the black, and then the gold is painted on. There's silver detailings and wiring underneath, blue wiring, yellow wiring. All the fingers are individually articulated at each knuckle on pins, so that works nicely. And then the wrist is on a hinge and swivel, so it acts like a universal joint, so nothing to complain about here either. He comes with two lightsabers. The blade is removable. This is just a blue translucent with no white rod down the center, as I've mentioned in the past. And then we have the silver chrome, which looks really nice, and then the black, the red chrome, the gold paint, all of it is beautiful. And then we have Dooku's lightsaber, which is nice because it looks like we're getting a Dooku. We have the red blade. I don't know if this is removable. It is. It's removable. And then you have the hilt all sculpted nicely, the silver chrome, the black, all the detailings and textures on the black hilt that look, kind of photoreal, red chrome, gold paint, etc. Nicely done. And then you get some kind of bells and whistles. You get batteries for the arm. We'll take a look at that later. You get replacement ball hinges for the wrists. You get some extra little tabs there and some extra buttons. I think the head sculpt is dead on. He's sitting a little far up, but yeah, we can take the hood off. The hair, everything, I think it's pretty close. Obviously, the hair on the picture on the left is blowing in the breeze and such, and they didn't do that here, which I think is the right choice. The hair on the Hot Toys might be a little large and in charge, but it's definitely a minute complaint. The scarring, the shading, the expression, the sculpt of the eyes, lips, and nose specifically, all of it looks dead on the money. The face isn't super clean. Do you know what I mean? It's not free of distress. It's not free of kind of worry. There's a look like he's aged beyond his years, which he had in the movie, so I dig that a lot. Now, I've tried to pose him to the best of my ability to kind of match this other pose that you're looking at, just so we can take a look at the comparison, and I think it's pretty much dead on the money. The only issue that I have, that stands out to me immediately is I feel like his pants are a little baggier in the film than they are here. But once again, I don't feel like it's distracting, and the rest of it more than makes up for it, because it's incredibly close and accurate. I don't really have much negative to say. Soft goods wise, before we move on, I want to talk about the cloak, and then we'll remove it. The cloak is a very nice material. It's maybe a little too fuzzy, but it's not bothersome at all, and it has a nice weight to it. It hangs very naturally. And the hood has wiring throughout, which allows you to put the hood in a very natural position and then give the hood, by adjusting the wiring, the kind of weight that you want it to have, which is like impossible to do. But they found a way to do it, and bravo. Like, I've never seen it done quite this well. It really, really, really comes across nicely. Cloaks are and the robes are challenging. Now let's look at the rest of them. All right, let's look at the soft goods and detailings and such. The head sculpt, like I said, I'm in love with it. I do think that from some angles, the hair looks a little big, but you can just pose it properly, and I don't think it'll be an issue for you. The shading on the face is tremendous. It almost goes to like a solid black, like in the places in the eyes, like above the eyes, below the eyes. Like it goes to a really like a gray gradient. The scarring, both on the flesh, like sculpt wise and paint, all comes across beautifully. So do the eye sculpt, paint, and finish in that regard. Other paint and sculpt work we have on the gloves. They're all sculpted nicely. We have some nice wrinkles. We have the silver and black added to the straps and then to the buckles. And then the fists that are gloved have all the kind of ribbed, so to speak, kind of detailings there. And then the seams in the glove, that all looks good. The belt is actually a mix of plastic sculpt and soft goods. Like, there is fabric kind of stitched into it. And then there's like this faux leather look across the belt that actually looks like it has some pattern in the design of it that looks really good, like some aging. And then the pouches are all sculpted, and then all this stuff is all sculpted and painted beautifully throughout. And then you have the little clip here, and his lightsaber will hang on to it by using one of your extra push-in pieces that come in that little baggie. And you just push that in. This one is extended a bit, and then that will clip and hang down in there with no problem. And that looks really good. And all these little doodads and such are all painted up on the back. The boots are all one piece, so that's nice. And there's definitely a double ball peg in there, and they're baggy enough where there's some articulation that we'll be talking about in a second. But they're all with that kind of faux leather look. They all have that kind of aged or weathered feel to them. Like, like they're well worn in between the gradients of browns. And then the stitching all looks super appropriate and well done. And then the bottom of the shoes are sculpted as well. So the plastic work on here is all done beautifully. So the soft goods are all broken up into just a few components. We have the leather that we looked at already because of some of the belt work, and then the way it attaches to the plastic shoes. But the rest of this stuff, like this is a kind of a faux leather. It is paddy, and so to speak, but it looks good when he has his cloak off. It does make his cloak look like he has some big old, working woman of the 80s kind of shoulder pads going on when he has his robe on, but a relatively small price to pay. And then we have the two robes here. They are of different material, and this one, like the outer one, the one that also makes up his sleeves, like it has like this line, like the design of the fabric has like this line work in it that does look like super movie accurate. Also, in terms of the flesh of the hands, there's like an undershirt as well. And then we got some plastic guarding here that I haven't even looked at. I'll probably just keep that on. So all that is done well. I love the way that it wrinkles up here, above the kind of gloved arm. I love that. I can't begin to tell you how much I love that. And then we have the this tunic here comes all the way down. It's layered, like it has a heavy wrap around, and then there's this extra piece on top. And then we have the pants themselves that are a looser material, so it does let them hang a little bit. This is one of those areas where I feel like Hot Toys doesn't necessarily have the weight of the fabric to look natural, but it's a very small complaint, and I don't think you'll notice it if you have imposed like on a shelf or whatever. I mean, like in a case or on a shelf, what have you. And I don't think you'll notice, especially if he has his cloak on or Jedi robe. So it is something that's worth pointing out, but I don't think it's a deal breaker by any means. Articulation wise, it works quite well. The head is what feels like on a double ball peg. We'll just take this off. So you get down to there, not much up because of the hair. You get the swivel and a little bit of attitude, but not much. Then you have ball peg shoulders that come out to disc hinges, so you get the arm fairly far across, I think, and back to a really good angle. You can get the arm, even with the soft goods, all the way up to there, because most of the soft goods are baggy fitting. And then you can get the arm up. No problem. Yeah, go team, you know what I mean? And then we have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist swivel on a ball hinge, so you can get the up, down, and the in, out. Same for this arm. We have a double ball peg from the chest into the abdomen, and then a single from the abdomen into the pelvis. Utilizing both, you can get them bent over a fair bit, bent back a fair bit, decent waist swivel, little teapot, so on and so forth. We have T-jointed ball joints for hips, but because of the fabric of the pants, once again, it does limit us. So we get to about there. Forward's not really so much of an issue. And then you have the thigh swivel that feels like, to me anyway, and it might be around, it must be around the ball joint, but it almost feels like a cut joint. And then we have a double jointed knee, no issue there. Double ball peg for the feet, so you get the ankle all the way down to there, up to there, and rocker. So works fairly well across the board, kind of much like Daredevil. The only real limitation is the outward movement of the hips. But all in all, you know, it's pretty successful. Final thoughts wise, my complaints are few. I could use a little bit more outward movement in the hips. It would have been nice if swapping out the arms wasn't such a pain, but it is. In order to do so, you kind of got to take these brackets off, re-swap it out, put them back on. Like, and my fingers just aren't built for that sort of work. I don't like the stand design at all. The print should have been put on the stand. I know they've done it in the past, but they haven't really done it with anything that I've looked at. This is kind of my first experience with it, and I'm turned off by it, to say the least. The shoulder pads do have a tendency to bump up the shoulders to make the robes look like they're falling down on a woman's working business suit from 1986. And from some angles, the hair looks a little big, but I think, to be fair, in the movie, sometimes his hair looks a little big as well. So that's definitely in the nitpick category. But I do love this figure. The soft goods work especially well, with the exception of the pants that are mostly hidden by the cloak or robe. I don't know why I keep calling it a cloak in this review, but it seems to be just what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to stop fighting it. The face sculpt is beautiful, dead on the money. The rest of the soft goods look great, don't hinder articulation one bit. All the accessories make sense. There's not a ton of them, but they all make sense. Light up gimmick is a nice touch. I'll have to get Joe or somebody over here with little fingers to kind of swap that out for me. And I think I'm really happy that I love the cloak, or God, good grief, I just did it, didn't I? It makes me mad. It makes me mad when I stumble over my words. Makes me mad enough to kind of feel like Anakin myself.
He's got that mush mouth look on his face.
What you should have said is, there's too many of them. What are we going to do? But it's definitely a strong recommend from me. I know we're getting an Obi-Wan. I am curious, let me ask you guys this. I was having this discussion with a couple buddies of mine. I would imagine we're getting an Amidala, or Padme, whatever your preference is in terms of how you reference her. Which 3 outfits do you think are the most likely that they'll choose from? My 2 buddies and I, Chris and Tyler, had a discussion about it, and we all picked 3 different choices. Not one choice was agreed upon between the 3 of us, if I recall correctly. I know I have my preferences, but I'm curious as to what you guys will say. And that's it for today, folks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.